What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Monday morning so far. This is MYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about yesterday's New York Mets game, the final game against the Miami Marlins at CitiField. And this was pretty ugly. For the most part, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Carlos Carrasco is really starting to become a problem for this Mets team in the starting rotation. He's had two miserable outings so far in a row. And yesterday against Miami, he was equally as bad. He only pitched in 4 2/3 innings, and he gave up six earned runs and 3 walks, including 2 home runs by Miami by Dela Cruz in the first inning, and then another one by Cooper back in the 5th inning, and then pretty much put the game out of reach at that point. And the New York Mets couldn't really get anything going offensively when at their at bats, going up against Brad Garrett, or I'm sorry, Braxton Garrett of the Miami Marlins. And the New York Mets fall yesterday by the final score of 7-2. And like I mentioned, Carrasco is now pitching to a 11.42 ERA in 2 starts. 2 miserable starts he's had. He got lit up by the Milwaukee Brewers earlier last week, and then he just got lit up again by the Miami Marlins. And so far, Cookie is not looking so crisp right now at all. Cookie right now looks anything but crisp. He looks like he's a burnout, broken up type of cookie and that's breaking into dust. So I don't know what the Mets are going to do about the situation with Carlos Carrasco, because they need him to pitch well. Because of the fact that Justin Verlander, it's been said that he could be back sometime at the end of this month, but that's not even a guarantee. And then if he even comes back, how good is he going to be at that point? Is he going to be anywhere near the Justin Verlander we know? Plus, you also have the fact of this lineup is just absolutely inconsistent as can be. I mean, yesterday you got 9 hits in the game, but you only managed to scratch out 2 runs in the game, and that's including one by the young prospect Francisco Alvarez, who ended up singling to right field in the 2nd inning to be able to drive in Mark Canha. So that's one of them. And Alonso was able to single to center in the 7th inning, or the 5th inning, and then he was able to knock in Luis Guillorme. But otherwise this team was horrendous with runners in scoring position. They were 2 for 12, with Alvarez going 1 for 3, and then Escobar, Alonso, Lindor, LoCastro, and Pham all going a combined 0 for 7. You can't have that if you want to win. You got to be able to have these guys knock in some runs and on the base pads. And then also coupling it off, Starling Marte ended up leaving the game with an injury after he collided with Marlins third baseman Gene Segura, trying to attempt to steal third on a Francisco Lindor at bat. And he ended up getting jarred right in the neck, and it's being discussed that he could have suffered a possible concussion. Otherwise, he looks like he's going to be missing. He's right now listed as day-to-day, but he's got a strained neck and possible lingering concussion effects. So the hope right now is that Marte is not going to be able to miss as much time, and that's the last thing the New York Mets could do, is to afford to lose somebody like Starling Marte going into this game. And then, of course, guess who the Mets are playing next? The Mets have a series coming up against, of all teams, the San Diego Padres. That's not going to be easy at all, going up against the Padres in the next 3 games at home. And the Padres, I believe, are going to get back Fernando Tatis Jr., and they have a loaded lineup already that's got a ton of good quality hitters in that lineup. You know, you got Cronenworth, you got Machado, they just picked up Bogarts recently, you're going to get Tatis back. That Padres lineup is absolutely loaded with players. This is going to get an opportunity for Max Scherzer, who's going to be towing the rubber in the first night. He's going to have an opportunity to go out there and really rebound after he's had a couple of rough starts so far this season. And that Mets pitching staff, I talked about it yesterday on the Premium Take Show, that Mets pitching staff to me is the biggest worry amongst everything on this baseball team, because Right now, besides Kodai Senga, nobody in that pitching staff has looked anywhere near consistent so far starting this season. They've been very up and down. Carrasco and Scherzer especially have not looked good in their first couple of starts so far this season. Peterson and McGill have both had good starts and they both have had bad starts. So we really have to see if those two guys can continue their quality pitching, hopefully, going into the season. And the Mets hopefully can get back Justin Verlander by the end of this month and get him back into that starting rotation, because right now Carrasco is not getting the job done. Scherzer has got to start turning it around a lot more than he has so far. And also at the same time, Kodai Senga has been off to a terrific start so far, but it's no guarantee that Kodai Senga is going to continue to pitch this well, because he's pitched against the Marlins his first couple of starts so far, and he hasn't pitched against a quality opponent yet, because I believe the Marlins are a nice young team, but they're not the team that we're expecting them to be compared to some of the other top-level Major League Baseball teams out there, like Milwaukee, like Atlanta, like a Philadelphia, like a San Diego, like a St. Louis, etc. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen going into, the further we get into the 2023 season. But yesterday, just an overall bad game. I mean, Alonso seemed to be turning it around with the bat. He is batting .237, but at the same time, he seems to be turning it around slowly but surely. McNeil's average is starting to slowly creep back up around to where you expect McNeil to be, but otherwise this lineup has been so damn inconsistent, and they just need some more quality at bats. They need some more quality RBI chances, and for God's sakes, they need some guys in this pitching rotation to start pitching better, because they're not getting it done right now. And that namely starts with your ace, Max Scherzer, who has got to have a good start. He's got to come out against the Padres and pitch a whole lot better going into this season. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with this New York Mets team going into this very, very interesting early 3-game series against the San Diego Padres, and how they're going to be able to perform against the Padres early on in this Major League Baseball season. But just want to talk about that with you guys, recapping yesterday's New York Mets game against the Miami Marlins, where they lost 7-2 to the Marlins. Bad pitching performance by Carlos Carrasco. Couldn't really get generate anything offensively for the most part. And now they are 5-5 on the season, and they get ready for a 3-game home stretch against the San Diego Padres, one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. It's going to be an early season test for the Mets against the San Diego Padres, with Max Scherzer toeing the rubber for the Mets. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85. More news updates and chatter and game recaps surrounding the New York Mets. Turn on the bell for notifications. The next video is short surrounding the New York Mets. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you thought about yesterday's Mets game, Mets loss, against the Miami Marlins, and your outlook and state of the Mets as they get ready for a 3-game series at CitiField against the San Diego Padres. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope everybody has a great rest of your Monday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Mets. As always, all you got to do is you got to believe in those boys from Queens.